How's my uncle?
Who's fine. I saw him last week. We're very good friends, you know.
Yes, I got a letter saying you were coming. What can I do for you?
Oh, well, I'm doing research into the development of the women's role in the Arab world. That is, the problems they face, the adjustments they have to make. And I was wondering what sort of careers the girls from the school take when they leave.
Well, women are free to choose any career they wish, provided, of course, their work doesn't bring them into contact with men. This is a segregated society, Mr. Ryder. Take the school, for instance. The teachers, the secretaries, the accountants, the cleaners, the maintenance people are all women. We have male drivers and porters who are not permitted beyond the inner gate. We give them orders by telephone.
By telephone?
Yes, by telephone. And sometimes we invite male lecturers for the more advanced classes. The ministry has just installed a new studio so that these classes can be given over short-circuit television. The lecturer sits in one room and speaks into a camera. The girls sit in another room, and they watch him on the television monitor. Of course, each girl has a telephone on her desk, and this means that she can communicate with the male lecturer directly.
By telephone?
By telephone. Come in.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Not at all. Thank you for your patience this morning.
Am I putting you in any danger at all by coming here?
No, I can take care of myself. Besides, we have a chaperone. My mother-in-law.
Helen.
أهلا وسهلا.
الأستاذ رايدر.
تشرفت.
We have some tea ready. Would you like some?
Oh, please.
Fatma, 3 شاي. So how long are you staying?
A week, maybe 2.
Could you take these back for me?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. So, to ask the question again, how can I help you?
I don't know that you can.
Are you really doing anything about the status of Arab women?
Yes, I am. One particular woman. But her story is tied up with everything else.
Who is that?
The princess who was executed.
Have you heard the true story?
I've heard a dozen true stories.
Tea. شكرا. شكرا.
You lived in America for some years, didn't you?
Yes, during my teens.
Did you find it difficult to come and live back here?
No, on the contrary. There, I was an Arab and a Muslim in a country that didn't understand either. I had to come back to find myself, my roots.
But how does someone like you cope with living in a fundamentalist Muslim society like this?
This isn't a Muslim country. These people pervert Islam. They use Islam. They scare people to death with their barbarous, illegal punishments. That is not the way with Islam. A woman is nobody's property in Islam. There is no veil in Islam.
Wasn't it introduced by the Turks?
Exactly. Nearly 1,000 years after the death of the Prophet. A deliberate colonial act to destroy the Arab family. Before Ottoman rule, Arab women led armies, were equal partners in marriage, until they were silenced by that veil. Yes, of course. Look, it's so important that you understand. The way they applied the law in that girl's case has nothing to do with Islam.
What do you mean?
Skimpy evidence, killing her. Do you think there were 4 witnesses? Do you think she admitted freely? That is the only way with Islam.
Are you saying that the princess wasn't properly tried?
Of course she wasn't.
Then why was she executed, publicly executed?
Because they wanted to make an example out of her.
Why?
Because she defied them. By her actions, she was saying, look at this blasphemy. Look what is being done to our women. She couldn't teach as I do. She couldn't mix with people in the streets. She had to die to make her point.
Which was what, exactly?
This autocratic regime has nothing to do with Islamic thought, feeling, or ideology. Islam is democratic. There are no kings in Islam. The Quran says that the leaders must be elected by the people, and that the people have the right to criticize them.
Yes, that's the theory, not the practice.
And who's to blame for that?
What do you mean?
This regime is your responsibility. The West took over after the Turks, and you've always sided with the enemies of progress in the Arab world, because you want to control us. It was the same in Iran.
سميرة شوية شاي.
لحظة يا ماما. Christopher, these things aren't published. 1969, the Air Force attempted a coup. Not communists, not right-wing colonels, but the cream of our educated young men. The CIA tip-off, and do you know what happened? 300 officers and men were put on planes, American planes, were flown over the desert and pushed out. This regime is your responsibility.
And yours?
To bring society back to the pure, democratic spirit of Islam. The movement has already begun.
And you think that the princess was somehow involved in that struggle?
I do.
Yes. What you've given me is another version of the truth. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but I wish I had some facts. Simple facts. If I could just speak to somebody who knew her.
Perhaps I can help you, if you give me time.
Who knew her?
Yes.
Somebody on the inside?
Yes.
Who?
Let's just say she's someone with close connections with the royal family.
Who is she?
Someone we all respect very much. She knows what's going on. She may agree to see you, with my guarantees. And if she does, there will be no recordings, no notes, no mention of her identity to anyone. Not to your employer, not even to my uncle.
And you won't say?
I told you, we're not going to discuss her. And certainly not with that thing going.
How much do you know about palace life, Mr. Ryder?
A woman's life?
Yes.
Not much, what I've been told. The women are bored, caged up, expensive clothes.
And no education. Does that strike you as a good life for a woman?
No.
I have a friend, a princess. She's divorced like so many of them. Do you know what her greatest pleasure is? Get into her car at night and have the chauffeur take her to the Hotel Intercontinental. She cannot go inside. He buys a hamburger for her and she sits there in her car in the dark for hours just to watch people coming in and out.
I have met some professional women who are leading full...
We're talking about the royal family, princesses. Obviously, there are bourgeois women.
Yes, of course. Excuse me. What rights and privileges do you have as a princess?
Sex. Maybe that's a privilege. To relieve their boredom, these princesses live the most intricate and busy sex lives. Very little romance, quick liaison, sometimes cruel, always dangerous.
How do they make contact with the men?
The chauffeur and the personal maid. They make the contact and have the secrets. Of course, they're bribed, heavily bribed. The irony is that it's the women who choose the men. Yes, in a society as strict and tight as this, women are the predators. Men cannot choose because of the veil. Quelle chance le voilà. You know, Mr. Ryder, you ought to make a film about the veil. There's a road in the desert. Women go there to loot men over. Every evening at about 5. When they choose a man, if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, they just move on. If they find a man attractive, they write down his number and tell the chauffeur to make contact. There's always ways of finding a man. The sword dances on national days, for instance. This is the great opportunity for men to show off. Night, the desert, the women sitting in their cars in the dark, watching men, selecting their men. The men, of course, know that they are being watched, so they excel themselves.
You disapprove?
Not on a moral basis. In fact, I even admire their guts, but I despise the hypocrisy. Do you understand?
I think so.
Do you? Do you know what it once meant to come from this place? To be straight, direct, to submit to no one. We were never colonized, Mr. Ryder, until now.
Can we talk about the princess?
Poor child. Poor silly child. She paid for all of them.
She came from the sort of society you describe.
Yes.
You knew her well?
Yes. You heard about her trip to London, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
The irony is that her grandfather took her. He was exactly the same, safe, like a sword. Until his first trip to Paris, he didn't learn the lesson. He thought he was giving her privileges, opportunities, and all he did was confuse her.
Did you meet the boy in London?
No, on television.
Television? I don't understand.
Well, she saw him here, on television. He was playing a guitar, and that was fantastic to her. It just took her. So she sent to him a note through her chauffeur, telling him that an important letter was waiting for him in a boutique. Now, it's an old trick, but he wasn't a prince or someone accustomed to this sort of games. Just an ordinary boy, student at the university. And there she was, a royal princess.
She met him here? Not in Beirut or London?
No, she saw him here.
How old was he?
20, 21.
Wasn't he aware of the dangers?
Of course he was. He was very frightened at the beginning. But she was a powerful little thing.
How long did the relationship last?
It was pathetic. From start to finish, 3 weeks.
3 weeks?